Whether you realize it or not, the transformation of Walt Disney World is officially underway, as over the next decade, Disney is going to be investing $60 billion into the Disney Experiences segment of the Walt Disney Company. What's up, YouTube? Drew here. Today, I want to talk about how a recent project getting underway has officially started the massive changes that we will be seeing at Walt Disney World into 2030 and beyond. So, with that being said, let's get to it. So, how did we get to now, where Disney is starting to invest billions of dollars into Walt Disney World and Disney parks worldwide? Well, in my opinion, this all started back at D23 Expo in 2022, when Disney Experiences chairman Josh D'Amaro, the boss of the Disney parks for around the world, made it very clear that at the time coming out of the pandemic, Disney was ready to get back on track. And he actually made a comparison to Disney like a train rolling down the track since Disneyland opened in 1955, and the pandemic brought that train to a stop. But at that presentation, he said that the train was starting to roll again, get the company back on track, and that going forward, we were going to see the Disney that we know and love once again. And this also ties into when those first blue sky pitches were done specifically for Disney's Animal Kingdom and Magic Kingdom. At the time, that was a first of its kind conversation ever, where Josh brought out Chris Beatty, one of the lead Imagineers on every single project at Walt Disney World right now, and Jennifer Lee, at the time the chief creative of Walt Disney Animation Studios, basically pulling back the curtain as to what Disney was looking at bringing to the parks in the future. There was a lot of mixed feedback with that presentation because a lot of people took it as a what if session, when in reality, that was a way for Disney to say, hey, we are serious, we are doing things, we just aren't certain on what we are doing yet, in addition to getting guest reactions in person for what we want. And Villains Land got the biggest reaction. You guys see where I'm going here? Well, that story continued in early 2023 when Disney announced that Bruce Vaughn was returning once again to be the chief creative of Walt Disney Imagineering. Bruce had an incredible history as an Imagineer prior to leaving the company. The main project that I'm a big fan of that he worked on is Pandora: The World of Avatar over at Disney's Animal Kingdom. So at the time in early 2023, finding out that Bruce Vaughn was coming back was a fantastic sign, and it lined up with what we wanted to hear of Disney being serious about investments in their parks. Now let's fast forward to September of 2023. This is where we have Destination D23 at Walt Disney World. Once again, Josh D'Amaro hosting a Disney Parks panel. And at the end of this presentation, he brought out Bruce Vaughn thanking Josh on stage for Bruce coming back to the company. Bruce made it very clear that this was Josh initiating his return, and they continued that same blue sky session from D23 in the year prior, but now with Bruce Vaughn back at Imagineering. And this is where we saw that major shakeup to the plans of Dinoland that we are seeing happen right now, where it was confirmed that Encanto and Indiana Jones would be taking over Dinoland USA. And I personally believe that the plan for the Tropical America's Land coming to Disney's Animal Kingdom right now is much more thought out and fits Animal Kingdom better than the original plan of Moana and Zootopia because of Bruce Vaughn. The Tropical America's Land starts off with a core idea, a region of the world, and those stories are based off of the region of the world. So we already saw that instant impact of Bruce Vaughn coming back to Walt Disney Imagineering, and that's where I started to see Disney is serious, but we still don't have enough specifics for the future, right? Well, a couple months later, also in 2023, this is where we got an interview with Josh D'Amaro and Joey Nolfi over at Entertainment Weekly. Shout out to EW. But Josh said in that interview, Yes, we are very serious about this in response to some of the fans being skeptical and also saying that Disney is going all in to the park's business. So this story was building up to the incredible Disney Experiences showcase that we just got a few months ago in August of 2024, where it was unlike anything Disney has ever done before. To this day, I still cannot believe that I was fortunate enough to be in that room with 11,000 Disney fans. One of the best moments of my entire life. So many core memories as Disney finally listened to our feedback, announcing so many projects, not just for Walt Disney World, which is the topic of this video, but things like Disneyland Forward, Disneyland 70th, Disney Cruise Line. It covered all the bases of this segment that Josh leads. And then since that panel, we were just waiting for construction to begin on some of these projects. And there's one project specifically that I have in mind that when I'm saying Walt Disney World is being transformed, that's actually because Josh at D23 in 2023 said that over the next 10 years, we are going to see, and I quote, entire parks transformed with more projects in development than any point in the Walt Disney Company's 100-year plus history. So when I'm seeing people talk about Disney not being serious, it was all in front of our eyes the entire time, but people chose not to believe Josh for some reason, likely because of how things were during the pandemic and coming out of the pandemic when not a lot was happening. But don't forget, Disneyland was closed for 14 months. Walt Disney World was closed for 4 months. I think that it's very easy to forget now, 5 years later, the world that we lived in just half a decade ago. But that takes us to the present, today. In the project, like I mentioned, I look at Big Thunder Mountain Railroad out here at Magic Kingdom as the project that basically put this next decade plus into motion. Because once Big Thunder Mountain closed for this year plus long refurbishment on the morning of January 6th, that permanently changed the DNA of Magic Kingdom's 50 plus year history, and I haven't seen anyone else talk about it besides myself. What I mean by that is that for so long now, you've had the Big Thunder Mountain Railroad trains whizzing by that curve that is on the edge of the rivers of America, with the Liberty Bell riverboat passing by it. And even Big Thunder Mountain, it's connected to Tom Sawyer Island and the rivers of America because of how the track was designed with the water. Here's the thing though. On the morning of January 6th, once Big Thunder Mountain was down, well, the kinetic energy is then lost of the riders waving to the people on the Liberty Bell, and also the riders on Big Thunder Mountain feeling that inside feeling, are we going to go into the water, and then your vehicles bank around the curve. So whenever Big Thunder Mountain Railroad reopens, in 2026, this Magic Kingdom expansion is going to be well underway. So in many ways, January 5th was kind of the last day before we are seeing these changes to iconic experiences that we love, at least what some people love. Me personally, I am a massive fan of Tom Sawyer Island in the Rivers of America, so I was very fortunate to get the only video ever of that final train whizzing by the Liberty Bell, and it was just a bittersweet moment saying goodbye to something that I had loved doing for so long. Whenever I've gone on the Liberty Bell so many times in prior years, I was always watching those Big Thunder Mountain trains whiz by because of the sound effects and the kinetic energy that it brought. And if I was ever on Big Thunder Mountain when the Liberty Bell was going by, well, I was waving to people on the Liberty Bell. It's just that simple human connection. But that's gone permanently as of January 6th. So when Big Thunder Mountain Railroad reopens in 2026, I think you guys can see where I'm going with this. Big Thunder Mountain will be incredible with the new track and new effects, likely that explosive finale scene. Well, the Magic Kingdom expansion is going to be well underway at that point, to where you're looking at an active construction site rather than waving to people on this beautiful riverboat that some of us have loved and appreciated for such a long time now. Me personally, I am going to be extremely sad when Tom Sawyer Island and the Rivers of America close, because it's the last remaining hidden gem in a sense of Magic Kingdom where you can get away from people and just appreciate the park's beauty. And losing that, it's going to take a long time to get used to it. There is no denying that. So, well, I will be documenting the construction of the new Cars area in Villains Land. You know, I am a fan of Tom Sawyer in the river. It's just, there's so much kinetic energy and beauty, and it serves its purpose perfectly. But with Walt Disney World, it's not just Magic Kingdom where we're seeing so much transformation underway. If you also look at Disney's Hollywood Studios, with what we'll be seeing this summer with the closure of Muppet Vision 3D and Muppet's Courtyard, that one is also going to sting because it's the final time that Jim Henson ever performed as Kermit the Frog, and it's the final thing that he ever directed. And we're going to be seeing the Muppets take over Rock and Roller Coaster at a date that's yet to be announced. So there's a lot of things in motion at Walt Disney World, and the fact that just 5 years ago, we saw Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway kind of cap off that investment into Hollywood Studios with Galaxy's Edge and Toy Story Land, and then this beautiful ride, which is once again my all-time favorite attraction. And then here we are, just half a decade later, and we're seeing a Monsters Inc. land brought to life, a reimagining of Rock and Roller Coaster, and I think that there is a lot more in the pipeline for Hollywood Studios beyond those two projects that we just know about right now. I would almost bet on the fact that Disney already has a project ready to go for Animation Courtyard, or at least early concepts underway that we will find about, you know, either in the upcoming years or maybe even further. But Hollywood Studios, and then also, you know, Animal Kingdom. I think that there's a lot more there that we're going to be seeing as well. Beyond the Tropical Americas opening in 2027, I think that Disney is going to want to make Disney's Animal Kingdom a full-day park, which was originally supposed to happen when Pandora, the world of Avatar, opened, but you can't even really appreciate Pandora because the parks never open past 7 p.m. on most days. So I think that as a whole with Walt Disney World, we're going to be seeing so much transformation happen that this resort isn't going to be recognizable in the next 5 years, let alone the next 10 years. It's very important as a reminder that with this $60 billion investment that Disney is doing right now, we only know the first 5 years of that investment. So it's not just this 5 years through 2029, it's also what is Disney planning right now that we don't know about yet for 2030 and beyond, well into the 2030s. And that's where I think we see stuff at Epcot, Animal Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, you know, outside of just this major Magic Kingdom transformation that's getting all of the spotlight. But these plans are well in motion. Disney was telling us for years that this was going to be happening, and well, they did answer our feedback by giving us projects. I think the big thing that a lot of fans are caught up on, including myself with some things, is that a lot of these changes are taking away things that people know and love. And when you're taking away things that people love, well, it's always going to get that emotional response. So I hope that these projects coming deliver, because it will take away some of that sting, saying goodbye to such classic experiences at the parks. But I'm very excited for the future and optimistic for the future. So I look forward to sharing all of that with you as these projects develop over the 5 years. And I will see you all in my next video. Peace.